Yeah, there we go. Preparing. Your meeting is being live streamed.
Okay.
Woo-hoo. Here we are on Zoom. We're on Zoom, but we're on Facebook too. Woohoo!
Woo!
And we're talking to Diane today. And Diane, tell everybody who you are and how we know each other.
Oh my gosh, who am I? I am a friend of Sandra for
I know
years?
a long time.
How
Let's
many
not
years?
say
How many
like
years? A
30
few,
something.
a couple of years, yeah. I think the fun fact is we both had the exact same birthday, a couple of years apart, but this
and I'm younger.
But the same day, which is cool. And we worked for the same company, which was kind of cool. But I think the most important thing about that is we got to be really, really good friends. And our friendship has just evolved so much over the years. We're more like sisters, soul sisters than anything at this point. Yeah.
Yeah. And well, now that you've come to Uruguay and you saw my whole family, and so now you really are like your family.
I was adopted, and that was such a great experience. It was so fun. It was great. So yeah. So we have that together, and we both started out in the IT space. I continued on in the information technology space. Used to be more telecom focused, then went into billing systems and application development. And now I'm actually in the media space, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
Always wanted to work in the media space because my ex-husband actually comes from the media space. So it was kind of cool to be in it from a different perspective. So that's kind of cool. Yeah. That's what I do during the day. Yes.
But your passion is one of your passions.
One of my passions. I have a couple of passions. I guess my biggest one is in the kitchen. I always say, like, if you can't find me, at work, you'll find me either in the kitchen, or you'll find me at the yoga studio, or outside, probably with the dog, with the family. So, but my number one is probably in the kitchen. When I'm stressed, I go to the kitchen. It's my happy place. Everybody loves it when I'm stressed because a lot of good food starts coming out of the kitchen. It's like, oh, she's stressed. What's coming? There'll be roast, there'll be lasagna, there'll be meatballs, there'll be cookies. Crab cakes. Yes, there'll be all kinds of stuff. So yeah, that's my happy place. That's my Zen zone. Is the
boys, my kids are always happy when we go on vacation with you because they know the food's going to be pretty awesome.
It's true.
Because mom's not cooking and Diane is cooking.
That's right. And it was fun. That I think one of the things that I enjoy the most is cooking for other people, and especially when they like what I'm making, and they because it's different, right? Because I might make things that are different than what you make, and it's just a new experience for them. Like when I made the spaghetti pizza when we were up at the cottage one year, right? Which was like super cool. They loved it. And the crab cakes, they loved those. We did cake pops one year. We did all kinds of fun stuff, right?
Yeah.
Fun.
So you're going to come and cook for us during the retreat. And I'm so excited because you've been sending me photos. You've been sending Shannon and I photos of all the things that you've been trying out.
Yes.
And I can't wait to try them. And you said you had some people over and like they loved it.
Yeah. So and what I do is I admit it, I have my favorite food bloggers and my favorite, go-to places for recipes, and I always like to try things out. So yeah, what I do is, I love cooking for people. So I had a couple of the ladies over and we tried a few things. So we did some cheeseburger sliders, which is a really interesting method around how to make cheeseburger sliders. It's in the theme of the White Castle restaurant, which we don't have in Canada, but I understand it's like a big thing. So it's that sort of theme. So everybody loved those. And it was like super easy to make. and we did some, a play on a summer salad with the strawberries and the raspberry balsamic with some candied almonds. And in our house, we have a lot of nut allergies. So on the allergic spectrum in our house, almonds are very low. So I feel safe doing almonds. So we did some candied almonds, which were like so good that they were picking them out of the salad because they're like, oh, there must be more, pulling them out to get at the candied almonds. And then we did kind of a play on a kind of like a pulled pork. It's a carnita, which is cool because we did it in the pressure cooker. So it's an economical meal, and you can get it on the table pretty fast because when you do it in the pressure cooker, you can have it done in, like 2 hours versus 8 hours. But there's a secret to it, which I'll share on the day as to how to make your pressure cooker meat not taste like pressure cooker, because there's a trick to it. And yeah, it's a trick. It's a trick. Okay. Do you want me to say what the trick is? I can say what the trick is.
No, we'll save it for the people who come. You can tell me afterwards.
I'll tell you after, but there's a trick. There's a trick. And I learned the trick from my favorite food blogger, which I'll tell you what that is. It's Recipe Tin Eats is my favorite food blogger. So if you want to eat, Recipe Tin Eats is her site.
Okay.
So yeah. So that's the site to go to. But yeah, like that's one of the things. And then the other thing is making all the different coleslaws and things to go with it, because if you just eat it on its own, it's kind of meh. But when you get really creative with the different kind of coleslaws and all the toppings that really bring it to life, and then it's really fun because everybody can do something. So I had, after the girls came, I had a family dinner, and of course I had leftover because it makes like oodles of stuff. So I did this like fancy, meat taco kind of bar thing, and had like all different toppings, and my family just went crazy for it because of course you could do whatever you wanted in terms of, I could do it with the salad. Some people can do the corn tortillas. You can do like regular taco shells. You can put it in a bun. We had different coleslaws. We had different herbs. We had different sauces. And so it was like so fun, and it was gone. It was just, everybody just, really enjoyed that. So, and my mother-in-law loved it even more because she got to take some home. So perfect. It was perfect. Anyway, I get really excited about food.
I get really excited about your food.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things that I was hoping you could share with us was I know that one of the challenges for you is, okay, so there are some challenges for you in your family related to cooking. And that's one of the things that you're really passionate about, trying to figure out, how do I cook for all these different needs and not have to like kill myself trying to figure out all these meals. So maybe you could share a little bit about that.
Yeah, because some of us have different kinds of allergies. And my older son a few years ago is celiac, which means he has to be everything gluten-free, and not because by choice, because he cannot eat anything with wheat. And you would be surprised at how many products actually have wheat and you don't even know they have wheat. So yeah, it can be pretty tricky because we have restrictions on nuts. My son can't have wheat. My kids don't love vegetables. I don't have onions. We use lactose-free milk. So, and my mother-in-law, when she comes, we have to be careful about salt. So yeah, we have all these like restrictions. So, you just have to be really creative around how you get food to the table. And a lot of what I do is I'll kind of start with like a base meal. So I'll pick a protein and I'll do some modifications right away. So if I'm going to do like a breading of some sort, I always use the gluten-free, which actually is crunchier. So if you want to get, if you're making a schnitzel or you're doing like a breaded chicken fillet, if you use the gluten-free breadcrumbs, they're like super, super crunchy. So we modify like that. And then of course, some people like sauce on, some people like sauce off. So I always make whatever it is and have it separate. And then I make the sauce on the side so that we can serve it that way. Some people like rice, some people like pasta. That's not a problem because you can do it. And I'm really good at, I have these glass containers because I'm not big on plastic. So yeah, so if you make a little bit of extra of one, then you can sort of repurpose it for tomorrow for lunches or whatever. So some people don't like the breading on the meat, some people do, so I'll make half and half. And it's the same fundamental meal, it's just the cooking method and the way it's served is different. So I don't know if that helped answer your question.
Yeah.
And then
go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, and then for the onions, because a lot of people struggle with the whole onions, there's things that you can do with number one. If you eliminate onions, you probably won't even know. You won't even miss them. But sometimes we use shallots because it's easier to tolerate a shallot. The other thing that's really good if you want to get the onion flavor, but you have a problem with onions, is you can use the green part on the green onions and put it on at the top, but not the white, just the green part. The other way to do it is put some chives, because if you throw chives on at the end, usually you can tolerate the green part again. But yeah, you just learn to modify it, maybe up the garlic and, play around with it. But nobody misses the onions here.
Yeah.
So
that's really cool. You were also telling me about your favorite I don't even know what to call it, but you were telling me about frozen vegetables.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The frozen vegetables. Right. Okay. So the trick of the frozen vegetables, people are always afraid of frozen vegetables. I don't know why. Like frozen vegetables, it's great because you can get them on the table super, super fast. You have to watch your cook time, but you can get them on the table super fast. So if you want to do a stir fry, I do I'll get my tofu because I like tofu, and I'll do a tofu sort of a hoisin sauce and then chuck in the frozen vegetables and you have a great stir fry. You didn't have to cut anything and you can get it on the table like right quick. So you can, if you're working at home, you can have lunch in like 10 minutes, believe it or not. The other thing you can do with frozen vegetables is just throw them in your soup. They're great for making soup, especially if you get like the cauliflower broccoli mix. You can make yourself a really nice sort of creamy soup. Just make your soup base. You do your garlets and your shallots or whatever, and then put them in, and then put your broth, and just bring it all to a soft texture. And then the best thing to do is the immersion blender because it's faster than doing the blender. If you use a blender, you have to wait till it cools. But if you get an immersion blender, you can have soup, throw some cheese on it or some hot sauce or whatever it is. And it's like perfect. And my kids will actually eat that because if it's blended, it's not a vegetable. There's no texture. So yeah, it's a really quick and it's cheaper to buy your vegetables frozen. And actually more of the nutrition is actually in the vegetable. Because if you buy them and they sit in the fridge, you lost it, right? You got to eat it in a couple days. And sometimes if you're not quick, because people don't want to cut the vegetables, then you end up throwing them out. But if they're in the freezer, you don't. So
yeah. I feel like a part of what I do every week is buy the vegetables so I can throw them out at the end of the week.
Yeah. Well, the secret with that is, right? So the secret is when you buy the vegetables, after you buy them, wash them, cut them, put them in the fridge. And if you really want to do it, what I do, because green beans are just the nemesis. Nobody likes topping and tailing green beans. It just is a lot of work. So just top and tail them, just steam them, throw them in your ice bath. And then you've got cooked green beans ready to go in the fridge. So all you have to do is just like pull them out and put them on your plate in the microwave and you're good to go. That's the best way to do it. But, even if all you do is just wash them, slice them and put them in the fridge, it's so much easier. And then you don't waste because you already invested the time to cut them.
I was watching an episode of In the Factory. Have you ever seen that show? It's on Smithsonian, which, Steve and I are like particularly partial to.
Yeah.
And it's a British show, and they go into the factories and well, they pick a particular item and they show you how it basically goes from like start to finish and on the shelf, right? So they were doing this show about how they make stew or vegetable soup or something like that. And they actually did some testing about the nutritional value that is in the frozen peas and frozen corn. And they actually proved that they actually have more nutritional value in the frozen ones
Yeah.
because they're frozen the minute they come in off the like as soon as they're picked, they're frozen, right?
Yeah, immediately frozen. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, any stew recipe that I've ever used always calls for the frozen peas. Because let's face it, it's pretty hard to find fresh peas anyways. And peas are a lot of work. Like it's just a lot easier to get the frozen ones and sprinkle them in for a bit of color at the end. And that's what you want. Because if you put them in too early and they're not frozen, then they might go mushy. So it's good to do it that way. And with frozen corn, oh my gosh, you can do so much stuff with it. So you defrost it. And if you throw it in a cast iron pan hot with some a little bit of oil and some red pepper and some garlic and some salt and pepper, you can have a really good base for a salsa. So, and it's so easy and it tastes just like fresh summer corn. And it's so good. You put that stuff on everything. It's delicious. Salads, soups. Yeah. Fun.
So you had a theme when you put the menu together for us.
I had a theme. It was kind of a summer theme, but it was a theme that was an easy to the table and an adaptable theme so that you could do things different ways. And also thinking about good use of protein, economical use of protein, and things that you can repurpose into something else. So if you think of a summer salad, and you think of your grilled chicken, which is an element for the summer salad, if you just do like lots of grilled chicken, because you can have it today as a salad, you can have it as sandwiches tomorrow, right? You can put it in your pasta. So it's one of those things that you just make a whole ton of it and then you can repurpose it. So things like I said with the carnitas, again, you can do an awful lot with that meat to turn it into different things. So yeah, kind of a fun way of thinking of food, right? Serve it one way, and how can I transform it, and how can I make that one ingredient that is the core of the meal appealing to different palates? Because not everybody wants chicken in their salad. Some people just want it in a bun, right? So they'll have their salad and then they have their chicken and they throw it in a bun with some cheese and away you go. Hey, you can do that too. So then you only had to do one thing, your grilled chicken, and people can eat it their own way. So
yeah, that's really great. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited to have you show us. And you're also going to be walking us through some tips and tricks too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I really love that. And you're going to be telling us about knife skills, right?
Yeah. And you know what? It's like so important, knife skills. It's probably the most important thing because and having a good knife, you got to invest in a good knife. If you're going to be spending time in the kitchen, just get a good knife. I'm into, of course, because, my hubby watched a lot of forged in steel. So I have a really good collection of these beautiful carbon steel knives that are fantastic because they're very sharp and you can literally do, paper slivers of your vegetables because it's carbon steel. It's very, very thin. But yeah, having the knife skills will save you immense amount of time when you're cooking. So it doesn't actually feel like a chore, and you have to know how to do it. Otherwise, so you don't cut your fingers. Show you that too. It's important. Yeah. But
Yeah, and I'm excited for you to see my revamped spice drawer that Adina did for me last summer.
Yay!
Yay! Because
Yay! And there's
we know
spices in it.
Sandra and spices, they're not there.
It was a famine once, but that's okay. You had little twins. Do you remember the time after you had the twins and I came down and I made some meals and I went in the cupboard and there was a spice famine? I'm like, whoop, 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 out to the grocery store. Came in, perfect. No more famine. Yeah.
So maybe you can talk about what are some of your staples that you like to have in your refrigerator so that you're not spending tons of time in the kitchen.
In the fridge, in terms of sauces, okay, so I always have soya sauce, hoisin sauce, sriracha, low-fat mayo, are some of the key ones. I also have some cheats. I do buy this really great Thai seasoning blend out of a squeezy tube. I have ginger that way. I always have garlic in the little jars. I admit it does not taste as good as the regular stuff, but sometimes we just don't feel like chopping garlic. So we just use that. And it's fine. So those are things that I always have. I always have a lot of different flavored oils and lots of different kinds of vinegar. I put vinegar on everything because if you put a glazed balsamic vinegar on your salad, you get a lot of flavor and it really reduces your need for putting the oil on. So it keeps your salad in, in a good healthy zone. So I always have that kind of stuff on hand. And then I always have lots of, like I said, I got cut up vegetables because I just do. I think about, what are the meals that we're going to have, so that I've always got chicken. I've always in the freezer. I've always got beef, ground beef, pork chops. So I don't have to really worry, what's for dinner. It's like, okay, I'll just pull it out, whatever the protein is the night before, and I can figure it out because I got enough stuff that I can create something. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
I
great.
have a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming and sharing all this information with us on the day of the retreat and for going live with me today and talking about it. And we're really excited to have people come to the event and to talk about food and enjoy Diane's amazing cooking. She's going to put me to work the day before, right?
There'll be a little bit of work, just a little bit of work.
Okay.
But a little bit of prep, but that's part of the theme too, right? Because the part of the theme is going to be, prepping in advance so that you de-stress the event, right? Because if you invest the time and you choose a menu that you can prep in advance, it really, if you're having a dinner party, it makes so much difference. You can actually spend time with your people instead of in the kitchen. And it's
that's
just
usually me.
Right. But if you think about it in advance, it's like then on the day, everybody comes and they're like, oh, can I help? I'm like, no, it's all done. And they're like, what? It's all done. So that's a huge part of it too, right? Just being ready, and it just builds your confidence up too, because anybody can do it. It's easy. Just takes a little thought. All fun.
I'm excited. I'm excited. Thanks so much for joining me today and for sharing all this stuff and for sharing your talent and your gift. It's amazing. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Well,
look forward to seeing everybody.
We'll see everybody soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.